Autumn leaves swirled down, blanketing a street in the bustling Dali dynasty town of Lincian. A throng of people crowded the marketplace, their voices a vibrant hum against the backdrop of vendors hawking their wares. Suddenly, a small girl plummeted from the sky, her terrified screams echoing through the air as she fell at a breakneck speed. A sickening thud reverberated through the crowd. A woman gasped, clutching her hand to her chest. Heavens, is she dead? Curious onlookers swarmed the scene, eager for a glimpse of the drama. Goodness, is she really gone? A woman dressed in purple, standing nearby, scowled as she recognized the fallen girl. Tisk, she sneered. Ziming Zhao. Without another word, she stormed over and yanked the girl up by her collar, her voice sharp with anger. You jinx! If you want to die, don't drag others down with you. Ziming Zhao blinked, dazed. Who are you? Before she could comprehend what was happening, the woman in purple slapped her hard across the face, sending her sprawling back onto the ground. That's to teach you a lesson. Ziming Zhao stared at her bleeding palm, confusion and pain swirling within her. That hurt. I fell from a roof just now. It was so high, how am I not dead? A chilling realization dawned on her. Wait a minute, why are my hands so small? And why are they all wearing ancient clothes? She scrambled to her feet, staring at the two figures before her. Holy moly, did I just fall into some ancient world? Lost in thought, she suddenly heard a voice from behind her. Young master, are you all right? Guards, quickly fetch the doctor. Ziming Zhao flinched, guilt washing over her. Oh no, did I fall on someone? Seeing her gaze darting around, the woman in purple grabbed her collar again, furious. Still gawking around? Then use your life to pay for his. With that, she shoved Ziming Zhao towards the young man. He groaned in pain as she collided with him. Ziming Zhao winced, mortified. Ouch, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. The young man didn't speak, but gently helped her up, his gaze icy as he glared at the woman in purple. His name was Chu Qingyi, a young nobleman of 14 years. He had been mute since childhood, known for his aloof and reserved nature. Ziming Zhao, however, was momentarily captivated by his handsome features. Wow, he's gorgeous. Several concerned attendants rushed to his side. Young master, are you all right? We must call for a physician. Chu Qingyi suddenly spoke, his voice clear but strained. The culprit. His words sparked a wave of excitement among his attendants. Qingyi, you can speak. Heavens, I can't believe my ears. Our young master has spoken. Even a nearby monk clasped his hands together in prayer. Amipa. Chu Qingyi struggled to speak again. Arrest. His confused attendant asked. Arrest who? The girl who bumped into you. Ziming Zhao turned to look at him, a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. Arrest me, she thought to herself. That woman was so aggressive, ready to lash out at any moment. If that's the case, I don't need to be nice to her either. With a determined glint in her eyes, she tugged on Chu Qingyi's sleeve. Put me down. I didn't hurt you the first time I fell, but the second time was because she threw me at you. I'm worried I might have injured you. Chu Qingyi's attendants, enraged by the woman in purple's actions, surged forward. You vile woman, how dare you strike our young master? She was quickly subdued, but remained defiant, shouting, What are you doing? Release me. My husband is the magistrate of this district, Zi Wenxing. Do you want to die? Chu Qingyi scoffed, his voice laced with disdain. I am the younger cousin of the Guizhou prefect. Seize her. Ziming Zhao, listening from the sidelines, felt a flicker of recognition at the word Guizhou. Guizhou, isn't that the birthplace of the Jew culture I read about? She wondered. Chu Qingyi suddenly addressed his attendants. Hand her over to... He began, then seemed to turn to leave. Ziming Zhao, seeing this, felt a pang of reluctance. He's leaving? She quickly reached out and tugged on the hem of his robe. He's the second person I've met since arriving here, she thought, and he just offended me. If he leaves now that the woman's been captured. Chu Qingyi paused, turning back to look at her. Ziming Zhao gazed up at him, her wide eyes shimmering with uncertainty as she grappled with the reality of this strange new world. If he goes, I'll have no way of understanding what's happening. She held out her arms, wordlessly asking to be picked up. The woman in purple, witnessing this, cried out in indignation. Ziming Zhao, If you go with this strange man, don't ever come back. I raised you for 6 years, you ungrateful wretch. Ziming Zhao was struck by the oddity of the situation. The original owner of this body was also named Ming Zhao. Chu Chengyi, mistaking her silence for fear, reassured her gently. It's all right, don't be afraid. She leaned against him, whispering, I'm not afraid. Chu Chengyi carried Ziming Zhao to a nearby tavern. At his command, a physician took her pulse. The young miss is merely frightened. There's nothing to worry about. Chu Chengyi remained silent, gesturing towards Ziming Zhao. His attendant, the young man with the fan, understood immediately. He wanted to know this girl's background. Tell me what you know. If you don't, I'll have someone else find out. The physician clasped his hands and replied respectfully, Coincidentally, I know a little. That Zi Wenxing lives in Lane 3. He came to Linxian as a magistrate 3 years ago, having earned the title of Jinshi. His wife, Madame Hua, is the woman you just apprehended. She also has some standing. Her father is the headmaster of the Guizhou Prefectural School. The young man with the fan frowned. They're from a scholarly family? Then why is Madame Hua so shrewish and unpleasant? Ziming Zhao, listening to this exchange, felt lost. Pointing to herself, she asked, So, either daughter? The venerable monk seemed at a loss for words. He paused, looking at Ziming Zhao. Can this truly be spoken aloud? He wondered. The young man with the fan immediately interjected. She's already asked. Do you take her for a fool? The monk calmly relayed the information he possessed. It said that Madame Hua, married to Zi Wenxing for 3 years without children, adopted a baby girl from the Lauer family. This is that very girl. Seeing this, Zhu Zhou also used this as an excuse to adopt, taking in another child. To think, raising one child led to a whole procession of people arriving at their door, demanding her back. This young girl is quite fortunate, because roughly a year after her adoption, Madame Hua became pregnant. Last year, she gave birth to their first son, and 2 years later, a daughter, Ziming Zhao. Ziming Zhao, cradling her swollen, red face, listened intently, trying to absorb everything so she could adapt to this life. The young man with the fan looked her over appraisingly. Oh, so that's the meaning behind the Zhao in her name. Ziming Zhao, displeased, retorted, It's the Zhao as in bright moonlight shining. At that moment, Chu Chengyi, without a word, slammed his hand down on the table, shattering everything. The monk reacted swiftly, pulling Ziming Zhao behind him. Chu Chengyi's sudden outburst made the young man in green behind him break out in a cold sweat. He's done it again. He's lost his temper again. To prevent the situation from escalating, the young man in green pointed angrily at the monk, Feng Ba, and snapped. Are you thinking before you speak? It doesn't matter what his background is. Why do you keep bringing up things like that to provoke him? Are you trying to stir up a hornet's nest? The monk, sweating profusely, replied calmly. Clearly, you are the one speaking carelessly. A monk does not lie. Ziming Zhao looked up at the monk and asked politely, From what the abbot says, does this mean that after Madame Hua had her own children, she abandoned me? Will my previous parents still be willing to take me back? The abbot, without hesitation, quickly analyzed the situation for her. For better or worse, you are now the magistrate's daughter. Staying there, you can still command servants. But the Lauer family are farmers. I hear life is very difficult there. Ziming Zhao sighed sadly, her eyes tinged with melancholy. What good is being the magistrate's daughter? What good is commanding servants? Don't I still have to worry about my future? As long as my parents are willing to raise me, what do the hardships of later life matter? She looked at the monk with hopeful eyes. But if my parents don't welcome me, will the abbot accept female disciples? The abbot immediately shook his head. Amipa, this monastery is full of monks. It wouldn't be appropriate for a young girl like you to live here. As they were talking, they heard a crash. Turning around, they saw that the source of the commotion was Chu Chengyi. He had kicked open the door, carrying pastries. Seeing the food, Ziming Zhao's eyes lit up and her mouth watered. Wow, are those for me? As she excitedly reached out to take one, she realized her hands were dirty. Oh, my hands are dirty. I'll spoil the pastries. Chu Chengyi, seeming to understand her hesitation, quickly brought a pastry to her lips. His action surprised her. Is he feeding me? Chu Chengyi gazed intently at her. She happily took the pastry and devoured it. Wow, this is delicious. Noticing his continued stare, she touched her cheek and asked, Are you looking at my face? Don't worry, it doesn't hurt anymore. Chu Chengyi suddenly approached and placed a plate of pastries in her hands. Then, without a word, he quickly departed, leaving Mingzhao utterly bewildered and questioning the meaning of it all. Why had he left so abruptly? Looking at the abbot, she feigned a question. When I fell from the tower just now, it seems I've forgotten a lot of things. Does Master Abbot know how many children my birth parents have? The abbot immediately deflected. How would I know such a thing? Mingzhao pressed on, feigning disbelief. But I heard that enlightened monks know everything. The ones you're thinking of are immortals, the abbot replied. I am but a humble monk. It's strange, though. You bumped into Chu Qingyi, and not only did he not get angry, he even protected you. Could it be he felt sympathy due to similar circumstances? Mingzhao seized on this. Similar circumstances? So that's why he was so suddenly angry before. Mingzhao promptly turned and dashed out the door. If Master Abbot can't help me, then I'll go find young Master Chu. At least he's much more handsome than you. The abbot nearly fainted at this remark. These two little girls. Mingzhao, clinging to a sliver of hope, thought to herself, if we truly share similar painful experiences, perhaps he'll be willing to help me find my birth parents. She scanned her surroundings. Young Master Chu probably went this way. A beautiful young woman, noticing her, approached and struck up a conversation. Little sister, what are you doing here all alone? Mingzhao, wary of strangers, replied, Do I know you? The young woman handed her a small box, smiling brightly. Our young master just saved you. This is something he asked me to give to you. Our young master loves pine nut candies. Her gaze drifted meaningfully towards the distance. When his mood is low, he likes to eat them quietly. But he's afraid people will think him childish, so he won't eat them in front of others. Could you perhaps gently feed them to him? Mingzhao, without much thought, accepted the box, her smile radiant. Of course, certainly. But as she turned away, her expression shifted, her mind churning. There's something fishy about this excessive eagerness. She's either a thief or up to no good. But I've just found a strong benefactor. I absolutely can't let this opportunity slip away. By the lake, the young man in green continued to trail after Chu Qingyi, relentlessly pleading. Qingyi, just let me hear you say it one more time. If not teacher, then how about ninth uncle? I've looked after you for so many years. Surely I deserve some credit for my efforts, if not for my suffering. Mingzhao, arriving at that moment, bumped into him. Seeing the ice pack in her hand, she understood. So he rushed off to give me an ice pack. She approached Chu Qingyi and asked pointedly, Young Master Chu, have you sent your servant girl over yet? Chu Qingyi seemed perplexed by her question. The young man in green interjected, Does she look like she's fit to be Qingyi's servant girl? Chu Qingyi crouched down and gently applied the ice pack to her face. The cool touch against her cheek was soothing. She didn't forget to warn him, Chu Qingyi, someone want to harm you. Did you know? The young man in green was incredulous, convinced Mingzhao was spouting nonsense. His face twisted in annoyance as he glared at her. What utter rubbish are you talking about? And how dare you address Chu Qingyi so casually? You should address him as brother. Didn't your elders teach you any manners? With every word the young man uttered, Chu Qingyi's expression darkened. Mingzhao quickly produced the black box the young woman had given her. Just now, someone claiming to be your servant girl gave me this box of pine nut candies. She insisted I personally feed them to you. Anyone who offers unsolicited favors is usually up to no good. I suspect that servant girl had ulterior motives. As soon as Mingzhao finished speaking, the abbot and the young man in green exchanged glances. The young man swiftly darted forward and snatched the box of candies from Mingzhao's hand. He then proceeded to toss the entire contents into a nearby fish pond. The abbot, witnessing this, raised a hand in protest. Oh, no, those are my koi. But the candies had already hit the water. The koi quickly swarmed the sweets and began to devour them. Unfazed, the young man in green retorted, Doesn't your Buddhist philosophy preach, if not me, who? If not now, when it comes to entering hell? Mingzhao approached the pond to observe the fish. In a matter of moments, several koi, having ingested the candies, floated belly up, lifeless. Seeing this, a cold sweat broke out on Mingzhao's skin. So, someone wanted to take advantage of my youth and use me to eliminate Chu Qingyi. She glanced sideways at him. Who would want to harm such a handsome young man? The young man in green, having observed the results of his experiment, abruptly turned and strode away. After a few steps, Noticing everyone standing motionless, he turned back irritably. What are you all gawking at? Go find the culprit. Chu Qingyi, inwardly grateful for Zi Mingzhao's warning, quickly scooped her up and carried her back to his room. Once they were alone, he finally spoke. How did you fall? Was it from the tower? A dazed expression settled on Zi Mingzhao's face as she thought, in my past life. I think I leaned out from the tower to look down, and within 3 seconds, I was in free fall. Could Chu Qingyi be suspecting someone deliberately pushed her to fall onto him? It wasn't an impossible scenario, especially given the poison pine nut candies. Zi Mingzhao quickly posed a question. If someone really did use me as a weapon against you, wouldn't I be considered an innocent victim caught in the crossfire? He seemed surprised by her articulate speech. An innocent victim? Have you been to school? Zi Mingzhao, determined not to miss the opportunity to secure his protection, put on a half-genuine, half-feigned smile. If I suffer any misfortune because of you, you can't just stand by and watch. Later, when they find the culprit, if they look menacing, you have to save me. As they were engrossed in their conversation, a voice suddenly rang out from behind them, catching Zi Mingzhao's attention. Zi Mingzhao, you're alive. Did it hurt when you fell? Seeing her silence, the newcomer continued, pointing at her. Zi Mingzhao, I heard you fell from the tower. Seeing you like this, I guess the fall didn't knock you silly, did it? With practiced agility, Zi Mingzhao hopped down from Chu Qingyi's arms. Just as Zi Mingzhao was about to confront the young man and demand his identity, his next words sent a surge of anger through her. Zi Mingzhao, he declared, I always thought you were quite pretty. So, when you grew up, I intended to marry you. But, seeing as you've fallen and might be an idiot now, being my concubine will do just fine. Unable to tolerate such insolence, Mingzhao launched herself at him with lightning speed, driving her knee into his chest. Fueled by rage, her blow landed with considerable force, leaving the young man only able to gasp out a pathetic ag in helpless agony. A woman in green robes rushed in, her face a mask of panic. Zi Mingzhao, you're insane. You ruthless wretch, how dare you strike the magistrate's son? If anything happens to our young master, you'll pay dearly. Unintimidated, Zi Mingzhao looked down at the woman with haughty disdain. He dared to slander my reputation, so I dare to hit him. I, Zi Mingzhao, would rather work as a servant for the poor than be a concubine to the rich. And as for him, I don't care who he is. I'll hit him every time he dares to suggest such a thing. The woman, fueled by a sense of self-importance, rolled up her sleeves. I'll beat you to death for this. You'll pay for what you did to our young master. Mingzhao swiftly retreated behind Chu Qingyi. Oh dear, someone's getting violent. As the woman lunged forward, one of Chu Qingyi's guards swiftly kicked her away. She landed hard on the ground with a yelp of pain. The short man scrambled to his feet and, pointing at Mingzhao, ran to tattle to the abbot and the young man's family. Abbot, uncle, they're bullying me. Zi Mingzhao wouldn't listen, and she even fought back. A man, presumably Zi Mingzhao's adoptive father, Zi Wenxing, forced a smile. Mengda, he said to the woman in green, go on ahead. I'll discipline her for you. The woman, her face sour, interjected, well, Master Zi, you had better discipline her properly. She just kicked our young master. Mingzhao realized with a jolt. So this is my adoptive father, Zi Wenxing. The portly young man, still smarting from the blow, pointed at Mingzhao with a blustering air. Zi Mingzhao, you'll be my concubine and nothing more. The Zi family can't afford a large dowry. You'll never be a proper wife. Infuriated, Mingzhao snapped, you fat oaf. Do you want another beating? Zi Wenxing turned his gaze towards her. Cheer, come here. As Mingzhao started to move towards him, Chu Qingyi suddenly placed a hand on her shoulder, stopping her. She looked at him, confusion clouding her eyes, trying to decipher his thoughts. Tears welling up, Mingzhao cried out in a voice thick with it, I've called you father for so many years. Even if you have your own daughter, you shouldn't treat me so poorly. You could have returned me to my birth parents. How could you, for the sake of a dowry, promise a 6-year-old girl as a concubine? She clutched at her chest dramatically. I fell from such a height today. If it weren't for young Master Chu, I would be dead. Your wife wasn't happy that I survived. She even slapped me. And you haven't even looked at my injuries. You're only concerned with this magistrate's son. If the elders aren't compassionate, how can you expect a 6-year-old child to be filial? Zi Wenxing, his face burning with shame, sputtered, How dare you? Who taught you to speak like this? Seeing his blunder, Zi Mingzhao felt a flicker of satisfaction, thinking This old fool. His words had offended everyone in the room. The young man in green, stifling a laugh behind his half-raised fan, turned and asked, "Master Abbot, did you teachers speak like this?" The abbot sighed wearily, shaking his head. "Umitba, this old monk has never taught her such words. Furthermore, the young lady truly was pushed from above. There's no mistake about that." The young man in green nodded in agreement. Indeed, their aim was to hit Chu Chingy, who was standing below. The young man's gaze turned icy. "Magistrate Z, who instructed you to do such a thing?" Z Wenxing, not one to back down, retorted, "Who are you to make such accusations?" The abbot quickly interjected, "Third Master Z, be careful with your words. This is Wu Du, ninth Master Wu of the Wu family in Jiangbei." Hearing the Wu family name, Z Wenxing's face paled, and he hastily knelt. I have been blind. I beg ninth master's forgiveness." Wu Du waved his fan languidly. "Spare me the superfluous words. Third Master Z, consider carefully whether you wish to reveal the mastermind behind this." The abbot spoke up. "Third Master Z often plays chess with this old monk. He is a man of integrity, honesty, and kindness. Wu Du gave a abuse a foster daughter for the sake of a dowry, and practically wish for her death, and that's considered honest and kind? Ha!" Zi Mingzhao trembled with rage. "My life, from now on, will be my own." She lifted her chin and looked directly at Zi Wenxing. "I will not return to your house. Either I will remain at Guangpu Temple and become a nun, or I ask the esteemed abbot to send me back to my birth family." "Umitba," the abbot intoned, "those who renounce the world do not involve themselves in worldly affairs." Wu Du, relentless, pressed on. "Eating, drinking, and relieving oneself are all worldly affairs. Does the esteemed abbot not attend to these matters daily?" The abbot, under pressure, simply clasped his hands and chanted, "Umitba." Seeing Zi Mingzhao's refusal to return with him, Zi Wenxing seemed surprised. "Didn't you say you would rather die than live a life of hardship?" Zi Mingzhao's heart clenched, a flicker of pain crossing her face. "Anyone who has experienced hardship will understand." Zi Wenxing offered advice. "Your birth parents live a very difficult life. You will have no dowry when you marry. I think you should reconsider returning to them." "Unet pesti," Zhu Qiandi spoke. "There's no need to reconsider. I will take her." Wu Du's eyes narrowed, a calculating glint in them. "Very well then. We shall take Miss Zi Mingzhao home." Zi Wenxing finally noticed Chu Qingyi. "And this is?" Wu Du quickly answered for him. "A junior." The next day, at Chu Qingyi's residence, Zi Mingzhao stepped out and saw Wu Du waiting. "You're here already?" She ran over with a bright smile, giving him a high five. "Good morning, ninth uncle." Wu Du, seeing her vibrant energy, complimented her. "Your new clothes look lovely." He thought to himself, youthful ignorance is truly a blessing. She has no idea of the troubles that lie ahead. Zi Mingzhao beamed at the praise. "Hee, where is brother Chu Qingyi?" Before Wu Du could answer, Chu Qingyi called from the carriage. "Get in." "Oh, why is this carriage so tall?" Seeing her hesitate, Chu Qingyi looked over, seeming to understand the problem. He slowly reached out and lifted her into the carriage. Mingzhao was quite surprised by this sudden action. Wu Du, seeing her looking left and right, chuckled. "Hey, you look like you've never ridden in a carriage before." "Of course not," she retorted. "Though the Z family has been optimistic for 3 generations, we don't have that kind of face. Every time we go out, it's in a hired carriage. A comfortable carriage like this is truly a first for me." Chu Qingyi, ever thoughtful, held out a box of almond cakes to her. Mingzhao accepted them happily. "Thank you, Gidge," she said, thinking to herself, this young man, though he doesn't like to talk, is very considerate. Aloud, she continued, "Qingyi, you said your father told you to travel. Why did you have to come to such a poor place? If it were me, I would go to Jiangnan. That's truly a good place, with singing and dancing day and night. All the writers and poets love to go there." Chu Chengyi, disinclined to explain, simply focused on his book and didn't answer. Mingzhao, now suspicious, turned to Wu Du, ninth uncle. "Are we in a time of peace and prosperity or a time of chaos?" "What's a little girl like you asking about that for?" he replied. "I heard that if it's a time of peace and prosperity, those writers and poets can still speak their minds. But if it's a time of war and chaos, with swords and blades everywhere, who can still hear their sorrows?" These words made even Chu Qingyi look at her with new eyes. Where did you hear that? He asked. I can't believe that fool Z Wenxing even let a foster daughter like you read books. Ming Zhao closed her eyes, affecting a profound air. Keep things in your heart to learn. Listen much, see much, think much, speak little. Wudu burst out laughing. Damn, you call that speaking little? Ming Zhao immediately shook her head. Oh no, I was talking about Qingyi, Gidge. Her eyes flickered towards Chu Qingyi, as if trying to see through him. What's this young man's background? A dignified Tan Wulang follows him everywhere. And after what ninth uncle just said, I guess his father must be someone extraordinary. The carriage outside suddenly screeched to a halt. Wu Du, with a dark smile, moved towards her. I'll take you back to the Z residence immediately. Hearing that she had to go back, Ming Zhao flew into a rage and cried out. Then she quickly ran and grabbed Chu Qingyi's arm. Wha? I don't want to go back. Seeing her fear, Chu Qingyi pulled her into his arms and quickly got out of the carriage. His face was cold as he passed Wu Du. Wu Du slowly drew back the curtain and got out of the carriage, following them. Angry are we? After calming her down, Chu Qingyi gently set her on her feet. Feigning indifference, he turned his head slightly and asked, Want to come with me? Ming Zhao's eyes lit up when she saw a basket of sunflower seeds nearby. Qingyi, Gidge, are we self-sufficient? Before he could answer, she excitedly ran towards the old man. Pointing at two baskets, she called out, Shopkeeper, this one and this one. Give me a caddy of each. Ming Zhao happily hugged the enormous bags of sunflower seeds, munching on them as she walked. Suddenly, Chu Qingyi's anxious voice rang out from behind her. Ah, be careful. Ming Zhao snapped back to reality just in time to find herself standing before the sharp hooves of an oncoming carriage. She felt her whole body stiffen, unable to move. If I get hit and die, will I go back to where I originally came from? Just before disaster struck, Chu Qingyi rushed forward and pulled her out of harm's way. She asked Chu Qingyi fearfully, Older brother Qingyi? He set her down and bent down, concerned. Are you all right? Yes, she replied. I'm fine. From inside the carriage, a young woman in red angrily flung back the curtain. You blind idiot. Get out of the way. This is Lady Wei Hitching of the Duke of Wei's estate. Ming Zhao wasn't one to back down. She quickly retorted, Older brother Qingyi, isn't that idiot calling us idiots? You wretched little girl, who are you calling an idiot? Chu Qingyi, his entire being radiating a chilling calm, stared intently at the young woman. Wei Hitching, infuriated by his gaze, snapped. And you, where are your eyes looking? Someone, gouge his eyes out. Ming Zhao, bristling with indignation, pointed and kicked at the shrewish woman. I'm calling you an idiot, you blind, stuck-up fool. Let's see who dares touch my older brother Qingyi. Older brother Qingyi, put me down so I can teach her a lesson. Wu Du finally approached. Little one, are you all right? Seeing Wei Hitching's outrageous behavior, he flicked a pebble at her. Wei Hitching, in the midst of her tirade, yelped as the pebble struck her forehead. How dare you hit me? You're all courting death. Do you know who I am? Truly, a barking dog never bites, Ming Zhao said, looking at Wu Du with admiration. Ninth uncle, you're amazing. 10 out of 10. A woman dressed in green then calmly descended from the carriage. We are from the Duke of Wei's estate in the capital. Wu Du responded with a hint of disdain. Oh, such an illustrious background. Ming Zhao, hands on her hips, sternly questioned, if the Duke of Wei's estate is so grand, why did you nearly run me over just now? Shouldn't you explain yourselves? You're not even dead. I think you're just poor and crazy, trying to swindle some silver. Ming Zhao scoffed. Which teacher taught you that being poor makes you crazy? Huh. The books say necessity is the mother of invention, not necessity is the mother of madness. To think the Duke of Wei's estate only possesses this level of knowledge. Huh. Chu Qingyi looked at her with renewed interest, finding this little spitfire rather amusing. And you claim to be from the Duke of Wei's estate? When you throw silver at people, did you ever consider that silver might also feel pain? Injured silver, sooner or later, will leave you. Wei Hitching, fuming, retorted, You're the ignorant one. You're the idiot. Silver doesn't have a life. How can it feel pain? Ming Zhao sighed dramatically. Oh, I'm too tired to discuss silver with such an uncouth person. Let's talk about my sunflower seeds. I don't even need you to compensate me. Just pick up every single seed, one by one. Oh, and not a single one can be missing. Enraged, Wei Hitching furiously stomped on the scattered sunflower seeds. You're dreaming. Seeing her tantrum, Wu Du chuckled behind his fan. Ming Zhao, feigning anger, bent down, scooped up a handful of seeds, and threw them straight at Wu Du. Humph. What are you laughing at? A guard quickly stepped in front of Wu Du with a flick of his wrist. The seeds flew back towards Wei Hitching. Ouch, that hurts. She's still the young mistress of the Duke of Wei's estate. Nanny Wei, are you just going to stand there and watch them bully me like this? Wei Hitching shrieked. Nanny Wei immediately barked orders to their entourage. Hit them for me. Wei Hitching gloated, a cruel smile twisting her lips. Ah, you're all dead now. The guards swiftly unsheathed their swords. With lightning speed, Wu Du delivered 2 swift blows. In less than 3 seconds, the guards were sprawled on the ground, faces down in the dirt. Having enjoyed the spectacle enough, Wu Du addressed his own guard. Report this to the authorities. Wei Hitching scoffed. Report to the authorities? Fine by me. Let them see what the Duke of Wei's estate is capable of. Oh, is the Duke of Wei's estate bigger than a prince's estate? Ming Zhao retorted, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Nanny Wei, beads of sweat forming on her brow, felt the situation shifting. Which prince's estate are you with? Wei Hitching, clutching her aching body, wailed, yes. You're bullying us. You're all bullies. If my older brother, the heir apparent, were here, he'd beat you all senseless. And you dare to brag about being from the Duke of Wei's estate. Such limited knowledge. Ming Zhao sighed, shaking her head. Have you never heard the saying, there's always someone greater? I dare say, if my cousin D ranks second, no one in the imperial court would dare claim first place. Your heir apparent brother is no exception. And even if he were more powerful, he's too far away to help you now. If I were you, I'd be bowing my head in apology. Wei Hitching and Nanny Wei were rendered speechless by Ming Zhao's sharp rebuke, their faces flushed with anger. Wu Du turned slightly and gave orders to his guard. Stay here and keep an eye on their swords. Don't let them go anywhere near them. Then take them, along with all this, to the magistrate. The guard nodded in acknowledgement. Defeated, Wei Hitching and Nanny Wei swallowed their anger and bent down to pick up the scattered sunflower seeds. Just you wait. Offending the Duke of Wei's estate will bring you nothing but trouble. Chu Qingyi helped Ming Zhao into the carriage and gently asked, are you all right? Were you frightened? Ming Zhao, munching on sunflower seeds, shook her head. I'm not afraid. In my heart, Cousin D is the most powerful. She offered a seed to Chu Qingyi. Cousin D, try one. They're salted. When Wu Du entered the carriage, he found Chu Qingyi obediently accepting a sunflower seed from Ming Zhao. She offered a handful to Wu Du. Ninth uncle, have some. They're delicious. Wu Du declined with a smile. No, you two enjoy them. Just be yourselves. Wu Du pulled 3 books from his robes and tossed them onto the table. Cousin D, Ming Zhao began, is a prince's estate more powerful than the Duke of Wei's? Chu Qingyi, unsure why she was asking, still answered, yes, it is. So, their invitations must be very valuable, right? I saw Ninth Uncle toss theirs away like they were nothing. Those invitations couldn't have been fake, could they? Wu Du looked at her with amusement. Fake? Who would be foolish enough to forge invitations from the nobility? So, it's a mystery then, Ming Zhao concluded. Wu Du, exasperated by her illogical reasoning, rolled up his sleeves. You little rascal, are you asking for a beating? Ming Zhao grinned, trying to appease him. Ah, I understand now. Ninth uncle is even more powerful than those in the prince's estate. Wu Du, flattered, puffed up with pride. Chu Qingyi picked up one of the books and glanced at it. Do you want to learn to read? Ming Zhao was touched. So he had gone to the bookstore because of her offhand comment about wanting to learn. You little rascal, you weren't tricking your ninth uncle, were you? You really couldn't read before. Ming Zhao glanced at Chu Qingyi, her smile coaxing. Qingyi Gidge is just a good teacher. The carriage traveled for a while before coming to a stop. A guard approached and knocked on the door. That young lady is named Wei Hitching. She's the 4th miss of the 2nd branch of the Duke of Wei's estate. She was sent back to the family for discipline after causing some trouble. The Duke of Wei's estate is in Guizhou. Even if we hadn't encountered this incident, our paths would have crossed for a while longer. However, Wei Hitching isn't favored within the Duke's estate. The 2nd branch is from a concubine, so you can imagine the treatment she receives. The image of Wei Hitching's earlier arrogance flashed through Ming Zhao's mind. Hugging her book, she thought to herself, the current prime minister is a 7th rank official. Even a mere lapdog of the Duke of Wei's estate is more esteemed than ordinary commoners. No wonder Wei Hitching is so arrogant. Seeing that they had been traveling for a while, Ming Zhao, curious, lifted the carriage curtain. Qingyi Gidge, where are we going? Chu Qingyi replied calmly. We'll be staying in Ping County for 3 days. Go to the bookstore and buy whatever books you like. Ninth uncle and I have some business to attend to. We'll come and get you later. This was the most Xu Qingyi had spoken in a single conversation. Ming Zhao obediently followed his instructions, finding a nearby bookstore and entering to browse. After selecting her books, she stood outside with an armful, waiting for Qingyi. Time seemed to stretch on. Ming Zhao yawned repeatedly, still waiting. Qingyi Gidge, why aren't you here yet? Suddenly, someone came rushing past, bumping into her. Seeing the person continue running without a second glance, Ming Zhao called out angrily, "Hey, watch where you're going." It turned out the person who had bumped into her was none other than Wei Hiqing. It's her. Wei Hiqing, you did that on purpose, didn't you? Stop right there. You're a young mistress from the Duke of Wei's estate. Don't you know how to apologize after bumping into someone? Ming Zhao was about to say more when she noticed Wei Hiqing being accosted by two men in black. One held a coil of rope. The other quickly covered Wei Hiqing's mouth with a cloth. Ming Zhao stared, stunned. She didn't notice the hands approaching her from behind until a cloth was pressed over her own mouth. Only then did she realize the danger. I'm done for, she thought. She shared Wei Hiqing's fate, bound and thrown into a dark corner of an empty room. One of the men asked his accomplice in confusion, "Why did you bring another one?" Hith, Eustalvonus. Think of it as buy one, get one free. But this little girl saw everything. What if she reports us to the authorities? Look at her. She's even prettier than the young mistress from the Duke's estate. We might get a better price for her. Ha ha ha. Ming Zhao listened to their conversation, her heart pounding with anxiety. This is just great. We've run into human traffickers, and they target women. We're going to be sold to a brothel. That man mentioned the Duke of Wei's estate, which means they know Wei Hiqing's identity. And they still dared to do this? Who gave him the guts? Unlike Ming Zhao, Wei Hiqing couldn't maintain her composure. She burst into tears. The two men in black quickly drove the carriage further and further away. Ming Zhao, sitting inside, tried to assess the situation. At this rate, she thought, we'll be miles away from Ping County. Suddenly, she heard a commotion outside. Could it be Uncle Wu Du intercepting them with his own carriage? But things weren't as Ming Zhao hoped. The carriage simply pulled into what seemed to be the kidnapper's territory. Inside a derelict building, another man waited. Seeing the two men return with their captives, he grinned. Back already? And with such plump prizes, I see. The taller of the two nodded. Take a good look, he said. Ming Zhao surveyed the scene. The traffickers' numbers were greater than she'd anticipated. Escape seemed impossible. She and Wei Hiqing were thrown into a corner filled with straw. Ming Zhao strained against her bonds. Was she simply supposed to wait for her fate? Frustration gnawed at her as her attempts to free herself proved futile. Bound this tightly, she was helpless. Suddenly, a young man, also a captive, approached and gently wiped the sweat from her brow, startling her. "Don't be afraid," he murmured. "I'll loosen your ropes." He then moved to Wei Hiqing, offering the same kindness. She recoiled, screaming hysterically. Ming Zhao, unable to bear it, spoke up. "It's no use," she said. "This is a deserted house. Even if you scream, no one will hear you except these kidnappers." She realized that relying on Wei Hiqing was a lost cause. This isn't good, she thought. There's no help coming from her. She turned to the young man. "Let me introduce myself," she said. "I'm Ming Zhao, and I'm 6 years old. How long have you been here? And how old are you?" The young man, who had a surprisingly bright countenance despite the sadness in his eyes, replied, "My name is Lu Tingyang. I'm 10 years old. The man who captured me said I was beautiful and could be sold for a high price." Ming Zhao said, "Brother Lu, were you also taken because of your looks?" Lu Tingyang shook his head. "No," he said, "I wasn't taken for my looks." Hearing the young man's stomach rumble with hunger, Ming Zhao, without hesitation, offered him a handful of sunflower seeds. "I only have these," she said. "Have something to eat. There's not much to them, but it's something." The young man looked at the seeds in his hand and asked softly, "Do you have any more?" "Ido," Ming Zhao replied. "Aren't they feeding you?" The young man cracked a seed thoughtfully. "Very little," he said. "They keep us alive, but not strong enough to escape." Wei Hiqing, drawn by the sight of food, approached Ming Zhao. "Do you have many more of those seeds?" she asked. Ming Zhao, harboring little goodwill towards Wei Hiqing, refused. "Just enough for Brother Lu and me," she said. "Wei Hiqing," Ming Zhao continued, "tell me, who have you offended? How dare they kidnap the fourth miss of the Duke of Wei's estate?" Wei Hiqing, stung by hunger and humiliation, rose and pointed accusingly at Ming Zhao. "Are you interrogating me?" she shrieked. "Perhaps this whole thing is your doing, some elaborate scheme. I warn you, release me at once. The Duke of Wei's estate will destroy your entire family. Calling you pig stupid is an insult to pigs, Ming Zhao scoffed. If the Duke of Wei's estate is so powerful and untouchable, why would anyone dare kidnap you so brazenly? I suspect this is clearly an inside job. I've spelled it out for you. Haven't you figured out who you've offended in the Duke's estate yet? Wei Hiqing felt her whole body tremble. She knelt Wulit Ly on the ground. You're lying. Absolutely impossible. Sister Ming Zhao is right. Lu Tingyang agreed. I think so too. Oh, Sixth brother thinks so too. Wei Hiqing asked, incredulous. Could it be that you were also betrayed by someone in your own family? Sister is truly insightful, Lu Tingyang replied. I'm not afraid of airing my family's dirty laundry. I wonder if you've heard of the Lu family in Jiangnan. Ming Zhao thought for a moment, then shook her head. I've only heard of the powerful Wu family in Jiangnan. Lu Tingyang calmly explained. The Wu family in the north and the Lu family in the south are equally renowned. Both hold prominent positions in their respective regions. Although my surname is Lu, I'm only a concubine's son. My father passed away during a harsh winter. After that, my mother remarried. I was supposed to inherit a dozen or so acres of land to live off, but now it's all gone. Wei Hiqing sneered condescendingly. Truly a low-born background. A flicker of anger crossed Lu Tingyang's face. So what? Even someone of noble birth like yourself is now in the same predicament. Sixth brother, don't mind her, Ming Zhao interjected. It's getting late. Let's rest and conserve our strength. Late at night, as Ming Zhao slept soundly, she was awakened by Lu Tingyang. Sister, wake up. She rubbed her eyes sleepily. What is it, sixth brother? Lu Tingyang leaned closer and whispered, listen to me. These kidnappers are not ordinary criminals. That woman and I are commodities to be sold off once they receive the ransom. But you're different. Even if you escape, they probably won't bother chasing you. Ming Zhao was instantly wide awake. Sixth brother, are you suggesting I escape? Lu Tingyang pointed towards the window behind them. Exactly. I suspect outside the window is a back alley or a thatched shed. Once you climb out, you don't have to worry about falling. I'll help you climb up. He positioned Ming Zhao on his shoulders and boosted her up with one hand. After some effort, Ming Zhao successfully opened the window. Before she jumped out, she heard Lu Tingyang's parting words, Sister, after you escape, find a place to hide. Lu Tingyang's voice continued to echo behind her. Your small stature will make it difficult for them to find you. If they discover you're gone, they won't immediately search for you, but instead move us to a different location. Do you remember everything I've told you? Standing outside the wall, she looked back inside with lingering eyes. Sixth brother, I will definitely save you. Ming Zhao quickly made her way to the carriage, searching for a hiding spot. She slowly crawled under the carriage and pondered. To get out of here, the carriage is the fastest means. I'll hide here for now and wait for the right opportunity to act. The next morning, after discovering Ming Zhao's escape, the men in black, furious, changed their hideout. Inside the carriage, a torrent of slaps and shouts echoed. You little brats, are you trying to rebel? Tell me, who let that girl go and how? Which one of you was her accomplice? Why aren't you speaking? Are you both mute? Wei Hiqing sobbed, I don't know. I was asleep the whole time. Lu Tingyang also denied any involvement. I don't know her. I don't even know what she looks like. The stout man turned to his companion, seething with frustration. If you hadn't carelessly grabbed such a troublesome child, how could our plan have been ruined? We were supposed to hide in the city for another half a month, waiting for things to calm down before leaving. Now what? The other man in black remained relatively calm. What's the big deal? We'll just find another place to hide. The carriage sped out of the city. Clinging to the carriage axle for dear life, Ming Zhao, hidden beneath, held on tight to avoid being thrown off. Near the city gates, Chu Qingdi's guards search high and low, holding a picture of Ming Zhao. Have you seen this little girl? About this tall, wearing jade green clothes, very pretty face. Hiding under the carriage, Ming Zhao's heart leaped with joy when she heard these words. It's Chengdi Gij's men. He's looking for me. Seeing a carriage approaching, the guards immediately blocked the road. Stop the carriage. We need to see who's inside. The stout man climbed down, feigning politeness. Officer, what is this about? The guard replied coldly. A child has gone missing in the city. The magistrate has ordered that no carriages are allowed to leave without being inspected. The stout man edged closer to the carriage door, forcing himself to appear calm. The young master in this carriage is the nephew of Lord Lu. He is on his way to meet his uncle, Lord Liu of Dongji Prefecture. Inside, the other man held Lu Tingyang firmly. The boy peeked through the curtains and played along. Yes, that's right. Lord Liu of Dongji is my uncle. Chu Qingdi leaped from his horse, his voice commanding. Even if Lord Liu himself were here, we would still have to inspect. The stout man pointed angrily. How dare you? Do you have no respect for Lord Liu? What about the Liu family of Jiangnan? What about the Liu generals of the imperial court? Before he could finish his sentence, the guard kicked him to the ground. How dare you question my master's words? The stout man cried out in pain, begging for mercy. I was wrong. Chu Qingdi, noticing the commotion beneath the carriage, approached. He calmly crouched down. Cheesy, come out. Hearing no response, he leaned closer, peering under the carriage. Cheesy, where are you? Seeing him, Ming Zhao cried out, Qingdi Gitch. She stretched a trembling hand towards him. You finally came. Having been in an uncomfortable position for so long, Ming Zhao's limbs were stiff. She tumbled awkwardly to the ground with a thud. Ouch, that hurts. Alarmed, Chu Qingdi swiftly shoved the carriage aside with one hand and rushed to her side, scooping her into his arms. Cheesy, are you hurt? Ming Zhao sobbed. To be alive and see you again, Qingdi Gij is such a relief. He quickly beckoned to his physician. Uncle Hua, over here. Uncle Hua, with a medicine chest slung over his shoulder, hurried over. Coming. After examining Ming Zhao, Uncle Hua spoke calmly. Young master, there's no need to worry. The young miss has no serious injuries. Her weakness is mainly due to hunger. Ming Zhao added, oh, right, Qingdi Gij, that older brother in the carriage. He really is a Liu, but he was also kidnapped by these bad men. The man on the carriage threatened, get off your horse, Lu Tingyang. Let's go now, or I'll slit this kid's throat. Ming Zhao cried out, Brother Qingdi. It was Brother Tingyang who helped me escape. I can't just leave him. Ming Zhao's worried gaze fixed on Lu Tingyang, fearing the captor would act on his threat. She tugged at Chu Qingdi's sleeve, whispering, Brother Qingdi. He nodded reassuringly, urging her to stay calm. Quick-witted, Ming Zhao devised a plan. Pointing behind the captor, she shouted, Wei Hiqing, hit him now. The man instinctively glanced back. Seizing the opportunity, Chu Qingdi flung a stone, striking the man's arm. Lu Tingyang, no slouch himself, reacted swiftly, slamming his elbow into the captor's other arm. He lost his balance and fell, but in doing so, broke free from the man's grasp. The kidnapper cursed, You little brat. Officers from the magistrate's office sprang into action. Seize him. Take him to the yamen, they commanded. Lu Tingyang looked at Ming Zhao with gratitude. Ming Zhao, beaming with the thrill of victory, reveled in their perfectly synchronized maneuver. It was a moment of true understanding. Gesturing towards Chu Qingdi, Ming Zhao introduced him to Lu Tingyang. This is my brother Qingdi. He's the one who saved us. Lu Tingyang bowed deeply. Thank you for saving my life. I am eternally grateful. Meanwhile, Wei Hiqing, having dismounted the carriage, continued to be imperious. Untie me, quickly. Once freed, she stormed towards Ming Zhao, jabbing a finger accusingly. Ming Zhao, you selfish wretch. You ran off by yourself, trying to get us killed. She then turned her fury on Lu Tingyang. And you must have been in on it with her. Just yelling won't do anything. If you're so capable, go after them yourself. Suddenly remembering something, she marched towards the portly man. You scoundrel. How dare you tie up this young lady? The unfortunate kidnapper found himself on the receiving end of Wei Hiqing's wrath, his head swelling from the blows. Ow! Stop hitting me, he pleaded. Ming Zhao watched with weary amusement. Wei Hiqing had barely eaten anything since last night, just a bit of cold sorghum, not even a sip of water, yet she still had the energy to unleash such a beating. She was a true force of nature. Noticing Ming Zhao clutching her stomach, Chu Qingdi gently guided her towards his horse. He helped her onto the saddle in front of him, his eyes full of tenderness. Let's go eat, he said. At the tavern, Ming Zhao devoured her meal with gusto. Wu Du, alerted to the situation, rushed to join them. After hearing the story, he erupted in anger. Damn it, someone dared to plot against those under my protection. They've got a lot of nerve. Pausing mid-bite, Ming Zhao, seeing Wu Du's fury, quickly added with a touch of flattery. In my heart, Ninth Uncle is the most capable person. Those villains were just blind. I told them your great name. name, but they said they'd never heard of you. They even said the Wu family of Jiangbei was nothing and that they only recognized the Duke of Wei's estate. Wu Du's fastionnet crimson. Slamming his foot on the table, he roared, "How dare they insult me? The Duke of Wei's estate is nothing but a pile of rotting manure. Am I right?" Calming himself slightly, he turned to Ming Zhao with concern. "Tell me, how did you get captured yesterday?" "At first, I was waiting for you at the bookstore," Ming Zhao began, quickly recounting the events without missing a single detail. After finishing her story, she continued to sigh. "This is the first time I've ever been in such danger. I think they captured Wei Hiqing because of the internal conflict within the Duke of Wei's household. But I'm afraid that given the Duke's influence, even the authorities won't be able to investigate thoroughly." Wu Du, standing beside her, fanned himself gently. "This is enough to keep the Duke of Wei's household occupied. I need to go and deal with the aftermath." Chengdi chuckled. "Thank you for looking for me." He gently stroked her head and softly asked, "Were you scared?" Ming Zhao's eyes sparkled with confidence. "Of course not. I knew Chengdi would come and save me. I also have to thank that little bird for not eating all my leftover sunflower seeds. Otherwise, how would Chengdi have found me?" "I would have found you," Chengdi assured her. Ming Zhao smiled mischievously. "But what if you found me much later? Say, 10 years from now? Would you still recognize me then?" Chengdi froze, caught off guard by her question. Ming Zhao in 10 years, he mused. Would her eyes still be so large? Her lips still so upturned? Her smile still so sweet? Most importantly, he wondered, would she still lean on me like this? Chengdi lost himself in a flurry of questions. When he finally came back to his senses, he realized Ming Zhao had fallen asleep. With a mixture of exasperation and affection, he scooped her up in his arms. He carried her to the bed and gently laid her down, thoughtfully covering her with a blanket. In her sleep, Ming Zhao murmured, "Chengdi, don't go." A guard approached and announced, "Young master, ninth uncle and Uncle Hua are waiting for you in the study." Chengdi cast one last, lingering look at Ming Zhao before turning to leave. Upon entering the study, Chengdi asked, "Have you finished the interrogation?" "Wu do no dead." Before we even resorted to torture, those two weaklings confessed. They admitted they were paid to target Wei Hiqing. Although the person who paid them wasn't from the Duke of Wei's household, they're connected to one of the Duke's maidservants. Chengdi's voice dripped with icy rage. "I only want to know one thing. Is the third branch of the Z family involved? For now, it seems unlikely." Uncle Hua stroked his beard thoughtfully. Capturing Ming Zhao was probably incidental. She likely just witnessed them abducting Wei Hiqing. He continued, "In truth, families of low standing tend to have limited courage. Even if there are internal disputes, they rarely escalate into anything earth-shattering." Wu Du added, "Ming Zhao's fall from the tower is shrouded in mystery. If it was indeed Hua Shi, it's possible she wanted to silence Ming Zhao to prevent exposure. However, Hua Shi isn't particularly clever." Uncle Hua clapped Chengdi on the shoulder. "Young master, don't overthink it. This isn't some grand struggle for power and wealth within a noble family. There aren't that many elaborate schemes at play. On the other hand, I wonder what your plans are regarding the Duke of Wei's household." He paused. "Since Hua Shi isn't involved, ninth uncle will handle the rest. I don't care about the details." "Oh, right. Has the person I requested arrived?" "Yes, Wu Du replié." To avoid revealing their identity, only one person came. Chengdi, having heard nothing more of interest, turned to leave. "I'm going back to my books." "Wu Du siged." "Always with the books." Uncle Hua offered a sympathetic nod. "It's better than before. It's taken a lot for him to find something that piques his interest. Let him be." Meanwhile, inside Ming Zhao's bedroom, an unfamiliar woman appeared. She approached the bed and gently placed her hand on Ming Zhao's forehead, checking for a fever. Feeling the touch, Ming Zhao stirred, her eyes fluttering open as she murmured, "Chengdi Gij, young mistress, you're awake?" Seeing a stranger in her room, Ming Zhao sat up abruptly, alarm in her eyes. Who are you? Why are you here?" She called out again, "Chengdi Gij, Chengdi Gij." Hearing her cries, Chu Chengdi burst through the door, his face etched with worry. "Cheesy, what's wrong?" Frightened, she rushed into his arms. "There's a stranger in my room." The woman, it turned out, was the one Chengdi had sent to care for Ming Zhao. She bowed respectfully. "Servant Hongfeng greets the young mistress." "Allow me to attend to your hair, young mistress." Ming Zhao, quick-witted as ever, understood the situation. Hongfeng's presence was less about care and more about protection. Chengdi, though seemingly young, possessed a maturity and dependability beyond his years. After Hongfeng had finished styling her hair, Ming Zhao looked utterly adorable. She calmly made her way outside. Stepping out, she spotted his solitary figure standing nearby. The setting sun painted the sky in fiery hues, enhancing his already striking presence. The breathtaking scene captivated Ming Zhao, her heart skipping a beat. Noticing her distraction, Lu Tingyang approached, waving. "Mimi, are you all right?" "Six, brother. What are you doing here?" Lu Tingyang, slightly embarrassed, scratched his head. I don't have a place to stay. My master offered me lodging here. So, we can be together now." Ming Zhao suddenly asked a seemingly random question. "Did you lose to Chingdi Gij?" Lu Tingyang nearly fainted at her words. From nearby, Wu Du's voice boomed. "What's wrong with your head?" Seeing him approach, Lu Tingyang hastily bowed. "Master!" Ming Zhao looked at Wu Du and retorted. "What's wrong with my head? My Chingdi Gij is so scholarly. He'll definitely become the Zhuang Yuan and surpass all the scholars." She then quickly darted behind Chu Chingdi, using him as a shield. "Wu Du inwardly fumel her constant ceasing. Don't hide behind him. Even if he becomes the Zhuang Yuan, it'll be because of this scholar's teachings." Ming Zhao, beaming, took Chengdi's hand and led him away. "Let's stop arguing and go eat." After a satisfying meal, she clutched her full belly and scurried back to her room. Time forono. Noticing someone else in her room, she feigned a stomach ache. "Oh, I think I ate too much. My tummy hurts." Wu Du, sitting inside, spoke coldly. "Komein, close the door." She turned back, a wary look on her face. "Only if Uncle promises not to hit children," Wu Du commanded, saying that is asking for a beating. "If you don't come in, it'll be double." He then addressed her directly. "Ming Zhao, what do you think of Chingdi?" "Chingdi Gij is very good," she replied, then added with a hint of suspicion, "What do you mean, ninth uncle?" "From my observations, although you're only 6 years old, you're a clever child. Your words and actions always benefit yourself. You appear innocent, but there's calculation behind everything you do." Ming Zhao felt a flicker of panic at being seen through so clearly, but she quickly composed herself. If ninth uncle were my situation, he'd also be forced to be resourceful. Moju smiled, as if peering into her very soul. "I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm simply offering my perspective. So, tell me, what do you think of Chingdi?" Ninth uncle's serious tone suggested he wasn't treating her like a child. It felt more like a probing interrogation. She responded calmly. "Young Master Chingdi seems cold, but he actually has the softest heart. As for his quietness, I don't think he was born that way. I suspect something happened to him when he was young." Wu Du's face darkened. "You're right. Chingdi has had a difficult life." He then slowly revealed the painful details of Chu Chingdi's past. His mother despised him. "This mute isn't my son," she'd rage. "Absolutely not. His birth parents abandoned him because he wouldn't speak. A fortune teller declared him a cursed child, destined to bring misfortune to his parents, fueling their resentment. They eventually left him. Fortunately, his adoptive father had discerning eyes and patiently guided him. We thought he'd never speak, but he finally did for you." A wave of emotion washed over Ming Zhao as she listened. Her wide eyes met Wu Du's. "Why are you telling me this, ninth uncle?" "Because you're the one who made him willing to speak, and you're also the one who nearly drove him mad. After you disappeared, he used every connection, every resource he'd never tapped into before just to find you. Everything he did for you." Sensing Wu Du's roundabout approach, Ming Zhao cut to the chase. "Ninth uncle, you don't need to flatter me. If there's something you need me to do, I'll give it my all." Wu Du sighed, dropping the pretense. His adoptive father has high hopes for Chengdi, but the boy lacks ambition. Ming Zhao, quick-witted, understood. "I know. You want me to inspire him, don't you?" "Yes, but don't push yourself too hard. Just do your best." As Wu Du turned to leave, Ming Zhao casually asked, "How old was Chengdi when his parents abandoned him?" 5. Ming Zhao pondered this for a moment before heading to Chengdi's room and knocking. His face lit up when he saw her. "What is it?" "Komein." Ming Zhao fabricated an excuse. "I just closed my eyes and saw the abduction again." "Chengdi, can I sleep here with you tonight? I'll sleep on the floor. I won't take your bed." Chengdi couldn't refuse her. He ushered her inside. She obediently retrieved a mattress and spread it on the floor. Chengdi lifted her up and placed her on the bed. "The bed is big enough. You can sleep here too." Ming Zhao casually picked up a book from the bed and glanced at it. "Chengdi, are you reading military strategy?" she inquired tentatively. "Are you planning on becoming a general or something?" "No," he replied. "I'm just reading to pass the time." Seeing his melancholic demeanor, she sighed softly. He seemed utterly devoid of ambition. She cautiously probed further. So, what do you want to do in the future, Chingdi? She asked. If not a military commander, perhaps a powerful official? He looked at her with an earnest expression. I haven't thought about it. Then, a playful glint entered his eyes. Ming Zhao, you haven't asked me what you want to do in the future, he added with a teasing smile. Aren't all women supposed to marry and follow their husbands? Ming Zhao's face lit up with vibrant energy and determination. She stood up and slapped a hand against her chest. I'm not an ordinary woman. I have my own dreams. She paused, suddenly realizing she'd forgotten the limitations placed on women in this era. Seeing her mischievous expression, he couldn't help but reach out and gently tap her cheek. Oh, so fierce. So what do you want to be? She gently pushed his hand away and declared resolutely, I want to be a mountain king. He looked startled. A mountain king? She excitedly described her dream. I want to plant fruit trees all over the mountain. Plum, peach, pear trees. Ideally, even a tree that bears all sorts of different fruits. Chungdi, have you ever seen a place like that? It was only then that he understood what she meant by mountain king. Oh, he said, a dawning comprehension in his voice. So that's what you mean by mountain king. She lay back down on the bed, raising her hands as she envisioned her dream. When a fruit ripens, I'll climb up and pick it. Blue skies, white clouds above, and then I'll eat the fruit I grew myself. Wouldn't that be wonderful, Chungdi? As she spoke, he seemed to picture the scene as well, his gaze softening as he looked at her. He unconsciously replied, yes. Yes, it would be wonderful. Chungdi thoughtfully pulled the blanket over her, his gaze lingering on her face. Don't worry, Chungdi, she assured him. When I become a mountain king, I'll keep you supplied with fruit. It's a promise then, he replied. The next morning, after breakfast, the group set off again. Because of the cold weather, Chungdi wrapped Ming Zhao in a large blanket. We're leaving already? She asked. Chungdi, is our next stop County? It's the prefectural city of Tsuzhou, he corrected. Are you hungry? There are some snacks here. She looked at him and Lu Tingyang cheerfully. So that means we don't have to go home right away, right? Chungdi's brow furrowed slightly. Ming Zhao, are you afraid of going home? She slowly shook her head. It's not that. I'm just wary of strangers. And I can't bear to part with you, Chungdi, so soon. He handed her a bag of snacks and reassured her, it won't be that soon. Ming Zhao, don't worry. If they don't want you, I'll take care of you. Hearing these words, Ming Zhao felt a surge of warmth inside. He's only 14, she thought, but his words and actions are so reassuring. As soon as she got out of the carriage, Ming Zhao dashed toward a roadside stall selling melon seeds. Seeing her looking back and forth, the vendor quickly asked, Young miss, what flavor are you looking for? We have freshly roasted salt and pepper ones. Would you like to try a sample? Ming Zhao, ever nimble, ran to each basket, peering in and asking, besides salt and pepper, do you have any fruit flavors? Like tangerine or peach, perhaps? The vendor shook his head, giving a dry chuckle. I've never heard of such flavors. What an imaginative young lady. Seeing nothing to her liking, Ming Zhao's interest waned. The prefectural city only has this much to offer. Enfin, let's go. The vendor immediately stopped them. Wait, young miss. Only our stall has these salt and pepper seeds. You won't find them anywhere else in the city. Oh, really? Ming Zhao asked, turning back with a hint of skepticism. The vendor quickly boasted, Of course, young miss. How much would you like? If you want, we have 2 pre-packaged bags of half a gene each. Ming Zhao paused, looking at the bags before her. What a coincidence. You just happen to have 2. The vendor promptly explained. Another customer wanted half a gene earlier, but realized they'd forgotten their money when it came time to pay. So they left the bags. You have such a bright countenance, young miss. Your luck must be just as good. Seeing Ming Zhao hesitate, a strange young man dressed in green stepped forward from behind her. If you don't want them, can I have them? The vendor's expression immediately shifted to one of disdain. And who might you be? Oh, it's Physician Li. Don't you usually just buy half a gene? Physician Li calmly replied. Well, this time I like a bit more. The vendor's attitude towards him remained unpleasant. There's a queue, you know. First come, first served. This young miss is buying these. If you want more, I can get you another bag. But Physician Li was resolute. Why are you so insistent that I take a different bag? Is there something wrong with this one? I only want this one. Just then, Ming Zhao suddenly snatched the bag from the vendor's hand. The owner is right. I was here first, so this bag is mine. I've paid. Enfin, let's go. With that, she quickly turned and walked away. Physician Li called after her, Little miss, wait. But the vendor held him back. Clutching the bag of seeds, Ming Zhao suddenly felt her heart pounding in her chest, a sense of foreboding washing over her. Her face was etched with worry.